So do I just walk in?
Yeah, you can walk in and sit down.
Alright, let's do it. I've just never had cameras looking at me, it's different. I'm nervous. Do you just ask me questions?
Yeah, then answer as if the camera wasn't there. So you could start by giving us your name, age, why you're here.
My name's Adam Wright, I'm 31 years old, and I committed one of the worst atrocities in the history of fantasy football.
In fantasy football, preparation is everything. Countless hours of research, meticulous planning, and strategies forged with the hammer and tongs of data and analytics. But here, none of that exists. Here, the clock is ticking down. Relying on his bare instincts and decades-old knowledge, something incredible is about to occur. One man with the delusion is set to take the 3rd overall pick in the draft. Analysts called this the sweet spot. Out of the spotlight of 1st overall, with a majority of the draft board at his disposal, the footballing world waits with bated breath.
With the 3rd overall pick in the 2024 Fantasy Football Draft, we select CeeDee Lamb, wide receiver, Dallas Cowboys. We really believe in him.
Do you wish you had taken Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase at number 3 instead of CeeDee Lamb?
No comment.
Is it true you've lost the locker room?
No comment.
Were you woefully underprepared for the draft?
No comment.
Can you confirm if your wife has left you?
We're done. No further questions.
The man was obsessed. From just 30 minutes before the draft, that was it. He'd done no prior research, none at all. And he was convinced, he thought that he would make a winning team. This sort of thing follows a family. I've got 2 young children to think about. I can't have them growing up in the shadow of that. I mean, this is the same man who drafted Raheem Mostert in the 7th round. I should have known that. I witnessed every grueling defeat. I'm Abigail Wright. I used to be married to him.
My daddy's going to sleep outside and says he's a loser.
As the season begins, head coach Adam Wright sets out the team he hopes will lead him to fantasy glory for the first time in his tenure. He signals his belief in rookie quarterback Caleb Williams. He woefully underdelivers, scoring less than 6.5 points, ranking him 31st for the week. First round selection CeeDee Lamb languishes at the 23rd rank. On the bench, there is very little to be optimistic about, with less than 17 points between all of his reserves. Could this be a sign of things to come? The glimmer of hope, however, is 8-year veteran Joe Mixon, opening his Texans account with 106 yards and a touchdown, good enough for an RB2 performance. In week 2, the head coach shows faith in Caleb Williams, naming him the starter once more despite adding Derek Carr to the squad. This would prove a foolish decision, as Williams takes a backward step, scoring half of the points he managed the previous week. Carr, however, ranks as QB3. Despite this, weak performances from a number of starters and a barren bench means victory for the team was never a possibility. In what would emerge as a constant theme, the coach starts to tinker. He benches Caleb Williams 2 games into his young career, opting to utilise Derek Carr. An unwise decision, as Carr's form was unable to be repeated this week. Notably on the bench, DeAndre Hopkins comes to life, nearing 20 points. Had he and Williams played, the team still would have lost. Most worryingly, the team loses star running back Joe Mixon to injury, putting the short-term prospects into terrifying jeopardy. Sticking with Derek Carr in week 4, the team struggled to support him with any kind of elite talent beyond CD Lamb. Backup Justice Hill has the best game of his season, but it's futile as the team crashes to a 58-point loss. Heading into week 5, he scrapes the waiver wire to sign Troy Sermon. His impact is immediate, giving the team a much-needed boost with Joe Mixon sidelined. Mixon's former teammate T. Higgins gives a standout wide receiver performance. Unfortunately, this is still not enough for the team to come close to winning. Caleb Williams rides the bench, giving his own stellar performance, the best of his fledgling career. Optimism has started to erode in the team, but this week is one they are looking forward to as they are set to face off with fellow winless team Lee Cooper 96. The timely return of Joe Mixon and Evan Engram paves the way for a sweet but narrow victory. Exceptionally poor planning leads the team, buoyant from their first victory, to the free agent signing of Drake May. With Caleb Williams on a bye week and Derek Carr injured, the gamble looks to pay off. Unfortunately, poor choice at tight end and misplaced faith in Raheem Mostert leads to another loss. It is a winnable game squandered. Week 8, the team looks to shuffle the pack again. Set to face the eventual T-Bowl champions, the QB Factory, the coach decides DeAndre Hopkins is finished, sending him packing. Surely nothing notable could happen to change Hopkins' fortunes. Cedric Tillman and rookie Troy Franklin are added to bolster the wide receiver core. Faced with a decision of who to start, foolishly Franklin is chosen, scoring a pathetic 1.9. Tillman, on the other hand, looks a strong addition, feeding the bench an entirely useless 28.9 points. Another loss. Another week, another new face in the quarterback room. Drake May is released and 40-year-old Joe Flacco starts, scoring a completely pathetic 0.6. If he could have been sacked, this would have been the moment that it happened to Coach Wright. This was a winnable game. Away from home camp, something unimaginable a week ago occurs. The Kansas City Chiefs have traded for DeAndre Hopkins. Will he come to regret releasing him? In week 10, something poetic occurs. Reaching desperation, the bottom of the barrel, Daniel Jones joins the team with a favourable matchup against the Carolina Panthers, who are giving up an average of 32 points per game. This would end up being the final game of Daniel Jones' Giants career. He is unceremoniously released after this loss by the Giants. Following a flat performance and loss, the team rebound to an explosive victory largely thanks to Taysom Hill, who delivers an incredible 40-point performance. The timely return of T. Higgins is also good news. They hope this can be a turning point. Hill is due a rest the following week, but looks to be a set player for the Saints going forward, who are suffering their own injury crisis. In the constant carousel of running backs, Amir Abdullah joins the team as cover for his injured teammate Alexander Mattison. The coach is rightly dubious of his ability to produce a strong enough performance, but he does manage to deliver a respectable score. Sadly, Mostert strikes again, giving a pitiful output. The team play well in week 13 despite below par performances from Pacheco and Lamb, yet it is far from enough to overcome the might of Jamar Chase and Brock Bowers. The big concern is for Taysom Hill, who after a historic performance the previous week he played, looks to have torn his ACL. In the regular season closer, the team is struggling to find players of any quality to cover their vast deficits. In the end, the entire team could have been beaten by Josh Allen and Tyreek Hill alone. An embarrassing, whimpering end to a pathetic season. The good news, week 15 will be a bye week for the team, 7 days of peace from this godforsaken misery. The playoffs are here, the majesty of the toilet bowl. In the semi-final, Wright has to face week 15 opponent Toby again. Allen and company do not replicate their decimation this time, so his blushes are spared. This, however, isn't enough to prevent defeat and a stamped ticket to the final showdown. Battle lines are drawn for the grand finale. The greatest spectacle in fantasy football is here. Wright makes some final preparations. Noticing that his opponent's only tight end, David Njoku, is out, he quickly strikes into the free agent market, picking up Njoku's understudy Jordan Akins. He considers for a moment taking Fabian Moreau too, but stops short of that sheer shithousery. The game is a back and forth with huge performances from both sides. Early on, Caleb Williams and Joe Mixon fall well short of expectations. Exceptional performances from T. Higgins and Zach Ertz ignite hope, but the strength of Jared Goff and Malik Neighbors ultimately proves too much for our heroes to take. In the final insult, Marvin Mims and Amir Abdullah, players released by Wright, spend the finale on his opponent's bench. Their combined points would have been enough to reverse this result. And thus, with a whimper, the calamitous season comes to a close. With the third overall pick in the draft, a team of any merit could not be formed. Whilst injuries to some key players impacted the team, there was no doubt that terrible management ensured this team was destined for failure.